It's a little hard to explain, but somehow, even though everything is still uncomfortable, you're thriving. You feel closer to yourself. That feeling of unworthiness is not there a lot lately. You feel happy in who you are. And still at the same time, nothing has really changed externally. There hasn't been any major breakthrough. There hasn't been any key determining factor that tells you that you should feel this way right now, but for some reason you do. For some reason you still feel more powerful in your purpose. I think a lot of times that when we go through these, um, when we're on these journeys, we expect things to be not simple, but we expect we expect things to be explained as we go along. And we expect that if something happens, that the reason will be clear. If something changes, that in order for something to change, that some revelation has to come before. Some moment of clarity has to come in order for a change to happen. And I feel like this is true in a sense, but we also have to think about that. I feel like you specifically on this path have so many of those moments of clarity that unless you're like journaling all this down, which is a good habit to have, I don't, I myself don't even do that as much as I would like to. I mean, sometimes when there's something that's real, I feel like it's real big to me, I'll write it down or I'll put it in my notes. But I feel like journaling and tracking down things that happen on your journey can definitely help you. Um, but the point I'm trying to make is you have so many of these moments, these eye-opening moments, these like revelation like moments that you don't always experience the effect right after. Not the full effect, at least. Sometimes you have these moments and it's a moment of clarity and you feel like you figured it out. But then the next day comes and something happens and maybe you react in the same way that you would have before you figured it out. You know, like, damn, I guess maybe that eye-opening moment I had wasn't really what I thought it was. Maybe that's maybe there's still something else that I need to figure out in order to actually make a change. But that's not always the case. I feel like sometimes those moments plant the seed to grow into what you're picturing, what you're desiring in your heart, what version of you that you're picturing in your mind. it needs to grow into that. So it's not always like you have that moment and instantly things are different. But it's also not that you have that moment and then things are just the same. They just look the same. They might feel the same. But in in the unseen realms, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of work being done to bring that image that you have in back into reality, into your reality. And it may slip your mind. It may not even stay in your consciousness as it might stay in your subconscious, but it might not stay on your mind to the point where you're thinking of it so much. Which is why in this state that you're in now, where you can't really explain it, but something is different. But nothing has really happened. Nothing crazy has happened. You haven't had any revelation recently that you feel should be having you feel like this. Does that make sense? You haven't had a revelation that you felt should be affecting you the way that you are affected right now. And that's because you had this revelation long ago. It could have been months ago, weeks ago. It could have even been years ago. But what you're feeling are the effects of that seed that has been growing and is now starting to bear fruit. It's now to the point where this isn't a tangible. This feeling that you've been searching for, that you've been hoping for, is right here. And it's not that it needs to be analyzed or that it needs to be explained or understood. It just needs to be experienced. Just experience it and embrace it, because you're still in a season of trusting, of surrender. And we both know how hard that is for you, to stay in that energy of surrender and not trying to control. But you're seeing that that energy is somewhat a part of the catalyst that has grown this fruit, has grown this root, this seed. Oh my God, I can't talk. Has grown from this seed into the root, into the tree that is now bearing this fruit. Part of the catalyst of that fruit is the energy of surrender, the energy of giving up control. It's not where it began to grow, but it is, I guess you could think of it like fertilizer, like something that kind of sped up the process, you know? I feel like there's a lot of things that can speed up the process or can slow down the process, just depending on the type of energy that you find yourself in. I do believe that the energy of control, of course, slows down the process. And if that energy is held onto and you stay in that energy, it can even kill that seed. And another seed has to be planted with hopes to grow a tree bearing fruit from that seed. But if you stay in the energy, you can kill that seed too. So it's just like this cycle that is not really supposed to end. It's really part of what you're here to create. You know you're here to create something that is in some way helpful to humanity. Whether it's big or small, in some way, you are creating something that is going to help people. So, this creation that you've always had in your mind, it has to come from that energy of surrender. And now that you're in that energy, you're starting to feel the effects. You're starting to reap what you've sown. It's still, like I said, there still is that energy of being uncomfortable, somewhat being nervous and anxious to see what's going to happen next. But it's not like it's not like you're trying to direct it. It's not like you're trying to decide what happens next. You're just leaving it up to the universe to provide for you the opportunities like it has been providing for you, the opportunities that brought you here. I do believe that those opportunities don't stop. I don't feel like there's any way to stop them from being created. There is ways to ignore them or to I would say not numb yourself. It's not the word I'm looking for. To kind of, I can't think of the word. I'm gonna just say to make yourself like deaf to them, to mute them. That's what I meant to say. To mute them. So that you don't really hear them at all. But they're still happening. There's no way to stop them, I feel like, I believe. So yeah, I feel like this energy that you are in now, even though it's uncomfortable, it's different. And it's a good different. And like I said, it doesn't need to be analyzed too much. It doesn't need to be dissected. It just needs to be experienced. Just needs to be felt and accepted. That's the message. I hear my dog whining, so I gotta go get him out of his house, take him outside, because I'm sure that's what he's whining for. I am trying to get to a place where I can continue to make more of these more frequently. It's just been really kind of, the past week for me has been really extremely busy, just with work and, parenthood, with being a son, just a lot of things that have been kind of not only filling my time, but filling my mental space. And I didn't feel I had the clarity to make one of these videos actually until now. I wasn't even planning on making this today, actually. I just felt like I should whenever I walk through the door. So, still working on getting more of these videos made more frequently for you guys. I appreciate everybody that has subscribed, everybody that watches. I love you all so much. And I really hope that this is helping you in even the smallest way. But yeah, I love you. These words come directly from my heart. And I sincerely hope and pray that they reach your heart.